All right, welcome back to our Tips for Tuesday. This is part two of our three-part series on rowing. So last week we covered technique on the rower. This week we're going to cover stroke rate and pacing. All right, so a couple things to note here on the board. We have some examples for you to check out what your stroke rate should look like on the rower. And stroke rate just simply means speed on the rower. How fast are you rowing? All right, so to note here, what we're looking at here is rowing pieces only, so this is not mixed modal stuff. This is all you're doing here is rowing. You don't have anything going on in between, during, or after the rows. In other words, you're not lifting anything, you're not doing burpees, pull-ups, or whatnot. It's just straight up rowing and what your stroke should look like. All right, now there's a low end and a high end, so this is going to depend on your personal body type and your personal engine. If you're a person that's longer and leaner, probably going to be in that lower range or slower range of stroke rate. If you're a person of shorter stature, you're probably going to be in that higher range of stroke rate, or you should be. Also, your engine. So what type of engine do you have? If you're able to sustain a higher heart rate for a long period of time, you can get into that higher stroke rate piece. All right. But if you're not, and you have a hard time controlling your heart rate, all right, try to keep your strokes low. All right, so here we have a couple examples of some time trials. We got a 5K time trial. All right, so if you're just rowing 5,000 meters, your stroke rate should look something like this. All right, somewhere between 24 and 28 strokes per minute. All right, so again, if you're a longer, taller person, you're going to be in that low end, shorter person, maybe on that high end. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to back up, and we're going to have Coach Jordan show us what a 24 to 28, we're going to try to get her up to 28 strokes per minute and see what that looks like. All right, so she's going to take a couple pulls, settle into it, and then you're going to go ahead and see what that looks like. All right, so we're going to zoom in here on the monitor, and you want to pay attention to these numbers the whole time. All right, so the number that we're paying attention to here in terms of stroke rate is right here. Bottom left-hand corner is going to be your strokes per minute. All right, so we're going to try to get her up around 27, 28, and if you're within 1 to 2 strokes, we're pretty happy with that. Okay, so that's the number that we're paying attention to in terms of stroke rate. Okay, all right, Joe, that's good. All right, back to the board. Now, if we're doing a 1 to 2K, so 1 to 2,000 meter row, you're going to increase that stroke rate because now you're going harder, you're going faster. All right, so now you're going to be somewhere between 28 and 36, and that's what we're looking for on that. So a faster stroke rate because you're going to be going faster on the rower. All right, so we're going to back it up again. And then Jordan's just going to go ahead and show us what 28 to 36. I'd like to see if she can get it up around, we'll go 34, right? Basically, you want to feel comfortable, right? But a 1 to 2,000 meter row, you're going a lot faster than a 5,000 meter row. Okay, so you can see on the monitor here. Okay, we got about 34. All right, how you feeling at 33, 34? Okay, yeah? Okay, so we would ask her to sustain that for 1,000 to 2,000 meters. Okay, all right, so that's good. So that's our 1 to 2,000 meter piece. If we're doing a 500 meter time trial, and this is all you're doing, 500 meters, all out, all you got, and then you're done with your workout, you got nothing else afterwards, you're letting it go. Guns a-blazing, coming out hot, right? You're going 38 to 40 meters, or 40 strokes per minute. So you're going hard, you're going fast. You should be to the point where when you're done with the row, you want to fall out of that rower and just roll around the floor. That's the type of feeling that you should have. Whereas a 5K, right, you get out of the rower, you're breathing heavier, walking around, but you're moving, okay? That's the difference between these two, is this is all out, all you got, every ounce of energy and piece of gas you have in that tank, you're letting it go, all right? So Joe's going to show us, she's lucky enough to show us what somewhere between a 38 and 40 looks like. All right, so this is what a 500 meter would look like. Okay, it's going to take a few strokes to get into it. All right, we'll go ahead and show that what that monitor looks like. And let her rip, let her rip. Good, so 37, that's probably where she feels good. 36, 37. Good, Joe, that's good, thanks. Okay. Breathing heavy on that? Yeah. Right? And that was just over 100 meters. Okay, so 500 meters of that all out. Okay. Now, let's take CrossFit style workouts into the play here, and we're not using this right here. We're adding other dimensions to the workout, so we call mixed modal. So if you have something, this is where pacing and gaming comes into play. If you have something like, a CrossFit benchmark, say like Jackie, 1,000-meter row, immediately followed by 50 thrusters and 25 pull-ups. Okay? If you come out of the box hot on that 1,000-meter row, rowing something like this right here, okay, you're going to come off that rower and have nothing in the tank for this. All right? So the unique thing about the rower is you're not going to win a workout on a rower, but you can certainly lose a workout on a rower. Here's what that means. If you're rowing next to somebody and they come out like this on the rower for this workout right here, they're going to fall to pieces right in here. But if you're on the rower next to them and you get off after them, you may be like 5 seconds slower than they are, but you're going to have gas in the tank for here. So this piece here, you're going to crush. All right, so that's where some gaming and pacing comes into play. All right. Another workout that we do in here as well is something, and we're going to be doing this in a couple of days, is a 2K row followed by, how many double unders is it? 200 double unders and a 1 mile run? 2 mile run. 2 mile run. Okay, so this is our endurance test that we do in here. It's going to be a long workout. So again, you are not going to do a 2K row here at that time trial of 500 meters. You're also probably not going to row 2K row at that 2K pace that we talked about here, because guess what? When you come off that rower, you have 200 double unders and a 2 mile run on top of that. Okay, so you might be living in that 5K pace when you do this 2K here, because then you got these two pieces to come after that. All right, so that's one thing to look at. You have to game it out and pace it. You have to know what's coming up after that row. If you have nothing afterwards, you got this. If you got other pieces and other dimensions to that workout, you're getting in after this guy right here. Okay. All right. Now another thing that we're going to look at is if you're just doing rowing workouts, so interval workouts. All right. So for instance, today we're doing 500-meter repeats. 500 meters rowing, 90-second rest, 500 meters rowing. We're asking folks to go basically all out on that, somewhere around 95% to 100%. All right. If you're doing something where and that's just a test that we're doing to see if they can come back and rest and get about the same time back to back. All right. If you're doing just an interval workout, all right, and let's say the prescription is this. All right, you're going to do let's say you're going to do a 5 by 500 meter row. So you're doing 5 sets and you're going to rest 2 minutes between sets. All right, and the prescription is we want you to row 80 to 85% of your 500-meter PR. Okay? So that would look like something like this up here. So we'll take, for me, for instance, my 500-meter PR is a minute 38-ish, somewhere around there. It's been a while since I tested it, but we'll just call it minute 38. 80 to 85% of a minute 38, all right, doing my calculations, I'm going to row somewhere between 152 and 157 on the rower. Okay, 152 and 157. We'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Now, let's say I have a workout that says 10 by 500 meter row, okay, rest 2 minutes in between, and I want you to row at 80 to 85% of your 2K PR pace. All right, so let's say, for example, a 2K PR pace. So I'm going 2,000 meters, all out, all I got. And my average pace during that 2K time is a minute 50. All right, 80 to 85% of that is going to be somewhere between 206 and 212. So while I'm rowing these 500-meter pieces right here, I want to make sure I keep it in between here. All right, consistently for all 10 sets. All right, so that's what we're talking about, pacing. All right, so we'll do interval pacing here. All right, so we're going to back it up again, and Jordan's going to show us what, let's see if we can do, let's assume Jordan's, what is your PR 500, by the way? Probably faster than mine, right?
About that.
Okay, yeah. Let's call Jordan a minute 38. All right, and we're asking her to row at that 80 to 85%. So we're going to see if she can stick it in between 152, and 157. Okay? So we'll have the camera come on back over here. All right, and this is the number that we're looking at right here, this big number here. This is her average 500-meter pace, all right, and we're asking her to keep it between 152 and 157, all right, for that total 500 meters. She'll rest 2 minutes, and then she'll repeat it for 4 more times, all right? So that's the number that you want to look at the whole time. Keep it consistent, all right? And that's what we'll see. We'll see people jump around, right, but an ideal situation is you want to keep it the same. Okay, go ahead and relax, all right? So same thing's going to happen if we're doing that 2K PRP. She doesn't need to show us, right? But instead of doing between 152 and 157, it's going to be between 206 and 212. All right. So that is our stroke rate and pacing strategies and some things to think about when you're on the rower. So bottom line here is don't go on the rower and close your eyes. All right. Look at the monitor, know where you're at, so that you're consistent on every time you go on the rower. All right. Know your numbers. All right, next week we'll cover damper and drag setting. Until then, we'll see you next week.